Hello, everybody. What is going on? Let me just rotate this a little bit for you. How are we doing? Jamie is just coming through the building right now. He's had to wait for 10, 15, 20 minutes for his COVID test. He was pragging out, worried that he had COVID. Right, here we are. Vettori Hermansson weigh-ins. While I test this audio for my boys. Brilliant. Oh, what have I done now? Hello, hello. Hello. I can hear a buzz. There we go, it's gone. What's up, everyone? What is up? We are live at the Apex for UFC Apex 13. Hermansson versus Vettori. Kicking off in about 4 minutes now. We should get the first person coming out. And so, as we came into the UFC today, I got let in straight away, and Jamie was told to stand to the side. 1 second, mate. Yep.
Yeah, all good?
Yeah, all good.
Cool. Yeah, I was a little bit worried for about 10 minutes, but I think it just got held up a little bit, my test results.
It did.
But all good now. I'm in here. This is the main thing.
Yeah. They cut it very, very tight there. I'm surprised they don't have people working on this overnight. 4 minutes before, and we are in. So, I've just had to get set up on my own, which wasn't a problem. But this mask, if there is a problem, it's probably this mask for talking, doing my head in. So, we have actually just come back from Arizona. We've been down there with Sean O'Malley, Kyler Phillips, Casey Kenny, John Crouch, Tim Welch, Jax, and the boys at the studio. It's been pretty damn good, man. We went down, hung out with Sean. If you are fans of Sean O'Malley, I'm sure that you have seen him. You have seen him in his slingshot, that wild little car that looks like. We were cruising around in Arizona in that. I got some cool footage of that. There's if you go to our Instagram, you can see a little highlight of what we were up to down there. 1 second. What up, everybody? Mike, Mace, Vic, Pogo the Bear, Sam Tarix, Gold Caps. What is up? Jamie, will you just take over a sec while I go to the toilet? Let's read that out.
Hey, how's everyone doing? As I said, I almost didn't get let in earlier. My results came back a bit late, but finally here now. Here he is, Oscar.
Thanks for coming to Las Vegas to see me. Yeah, I know that's why.
Oh yeah. This was why we made the trip, just to come see Oscar from Mac Life. Not for the UFC.
What? UFC?
Yeah, what's that? But no,
Picking in the main event.
in the main event, I've got Hermansson.
I'd probably agree with that.
Yeah. I think
Who else
Vettori.
do we know?
I'm looking forward to where is it? Jordan Levitt. Yeah, Jordan Levitt, Matt Wyman. I think that'll be a good fight. Jordan, leave it.
Leave it. Back.
But yeah, there's a few good fights on here, on the card. So we've got in the prelims, ESPN prelims, the first fight kicking us off is Gian Villante against Jake Collier. There's a heavyweight 3-round bout. Ilia Topuria and Damon Jackson after that. Then Jimmy Flick versus Cody Durden. And I think fight of the night for me is Jordan Levitt and Matt Wyman. And then Lewis Smolka and Jose Quinones to finish off the prelims. James is back. Let's pass it over to him.
You can carry on from your Yo.
But yeah, as I was saying, that's Lewis Smolka and Jose Quinones is the last fight in the prelims. And then into the main card, Nate Landwehr against Movsar Iloev.
Right, we've got a few guys ready. Stood at the door. Jamie is going to work that camera magic. Zoom in a lot as well if you need to, bro.
Thank you all for being here. It is the official weigh-in for UFC Fight Night. Hermansson versus Vettori. First fighter to the scale, charged with kicking off the main card live on ESPN2 tomorrow in the featherweight division, Nate Landwehr.
So we have Nate Landwehr coming up now to weigh in. Nate is fighting Movsar Iloev in a featherweight 3-round bout.
145 and a half, the official weight for Nate Landwehr.
145.5 was that? Yeah. Very nice. He's looking in tip-top shape. We got Vince St. Peru stood at the door right now.
All right, next fighter to the scale, one half of the co-main event here tomorrow in the light heavyweight division, 15th ranked Ovince St. Preux.
So Vince is fighting Jamar Hill in a light heavyweight bout. Co-main event this is, 3-round bout. Vince is looking in very good shape for his light heavyweight bout right now. Let's see what the scales say. Oscar getting his head in there.
207 and a half, the official weight for Ovince St. Preux. St. Preux comes in 1.5 pounds over the light heavyweight limit. He will not cut anymore.
Ooh.
All right, next up, featured prelim you can see live on ESPN2 in the bantamweight division, Lewis Smolka.
Luis Smolka fighting Jose Quinones. This is the featured main event on the prelim card. 3-round bantamweight bout. Everyone is flying out right now. I like these Apex weigh-ins. Everyone's very organised. So we
134 and a half, the official weight for Lewis Smolka.
134 and a half.
All right, next fighter to the scale in the UFC's featherweight division, Ilia Topuria.
Ilia Topuria, as John Anik has just said. So we did get Ovince St. Peru miss weight by a pound. and that's it. He's not cutting anymore, which is interesting because he still has 2 hours. But so Ilia Topuria is fighting Damon Jackson in a featherweight 3-round bout. This is the second fight on the prelims.
145, the official weight for Ilia Topuria.
145 for Ilia Topuria. Who have we got there? Jimmy Flick, says Jamie.
All right, next fighter to the scale in the UFC's flyweight division, Jimmy Flick.
So Jimmy Flick.
Pardon me. Next fighter to the scale in the featherweight division, Movsar Evloev.
Oh, John got it wrong. So it's Movsar. I don't know how you pronounce his second name. Eviliov. Got a few people giggling right now. Any predictions on weight for Vettori and Hermansson? Chuck them in the comments because I'll be keen to know what everyone thinks.
145 and a half, the official weight for Movsar Evloev.
144 and a half.
All right, now we will get to the UFC flyweight division, Jimmy Flick.
So finally, Jimmy Flick. Jimmy Flick is fighting Cody Durden in a flyweight 3-round bout.
$125 and a half, the official weight for Jimmy the Brick Flick.
Ooh, 125 and a half, making his UFC debut. This will be UFC debut against Cody Durden. Should be a good one.
Next fighter to the scale is his opponent, Cody Durden.
So his opponent, Cody Durden, is coming out. Both Americans, both looking for their first UFC win. Cody fought Chris Gutierrez. When was this? About 3 months ago. And he lost via unanimous decision. So this will be interesting. He'll be coming in to prove something against Jimmy Flick. Both looking for their first UFC win.
125 and a half, the official weight for Cody Durden.
125 and a half, the official weight for Cody Durden. I can't quite see who is next in line. But we're flying through it. It's good. Oh, here we go. Martin Vettori. So,
all right, next fighter to the scale. He is one of the men on the marquee, taking part in his first UFC main event here tomorrow night. He is the Italian Dream, 13th ranked middleweight contender, Marvin Vettori.
Here we go, Marvin Vettori stepping on the scales. So, a few of Marvin's heroes, inspirations, you can kind of tell. Fedor Emelianenko, your Crow Cop, Shogun Rua. These are all very similar kind of fighters to how Marvin likes to fight.
$186, the official weight for Marvin Vettori.
Marvin Vettori looking gassed. That's got me pumped there a little bit. Wow, very cool. So Marvin's been for a little bit of a, I don't know, I'd say a hard 2020. If you look at his record, he had a Darren Stewart fight cancelled, Carl Robertson cancelled twice. I think we all saw the commotion that brought up behind the scenes when Marvin bumped into Carl Robinson.
All right, next
sorry.
fighter to the scale, part of the featured prelim in the bantamweight division, live on ESPN
That
2,
was-
Jose Teco Quinones.
Jose Teco Quinones. But yeah, I was just saying about Marvin Vettori and Carl Robertson's altercation in the hotel lobby. Obviously, Carl had to pull out from the fight due to weight cut illness. And then they bumped into each other, and Marvin got the impression that he wanted to fight then, and all hell broke loose. But he got that fight eventually.
135, the official weight for Jose Quinones.
135 for Jose Quinones. Back to Vettori quickly. He did get that fight against Carl Robinson, who he did have the altercation with. And he did win by rear naked choke. So he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's had 5 cancelled bouts this year.
All right, next fighter to the scale, one half of a main card offering in the light heavyweight division, John Allen.
John Allen. He's fighting Roman Dolidze. Light heavyweight 3-round bout this is. And you would look at the name and think, John Allen. American, British, but no, Brazilian. He's John Allen.
$205, the official weight for John Allen.
Bang on weight there, 205 for John Allen as he steps into the octagon with Roman Dolidze. So John is actually yet to get his first UFC win as well. He fought Mike Rodriguez in 2019.
All right, next fighter to the
And
scale
lost
in the
by unanimous
UFC's lightweight
decision.
division, Gabriel Mowgli Benitez.
Gabriel Mowgli Benitez stepping in onto the scale. He's fighting Justin James in a lightweight 3-round bout. He's looking in good shape here. 155 and a
155 and a half,
half.
the official weight for Gabriel Benitez.
So Daniel Cormier was saying that Gabriel Benitez's leg kicks are some of the most powerful in all of AKA. I
All
found
right,
that
next
very
fighter to the
interesting.
scale, also in the UFC's lightweight division, Matt Wyman.
So we got Matt Wyman now stepping onto the scale in a lightweight 3-round bout against Jordan Levitt.
$155 and a half, the official weight for the classy veteran, Matt Wyman.
155 and a half for Matt Wyman. As John called him, the classy veteran. Oscar keeps giggling at my class commentary.
All right, next fighter to the scale is his opponent, the undefeated Jordan Levitt.
Here we go. Jordan Levitt stepping onto the scales. Obviously, he's fighting Matt Wyman, who just stepped on the scales. So Jordan is undefeated as well, so he'll be looking to protect that at all costs. 7-0 is Jordan Levitt. He's got a lot of swagger about his style as well.
155.5, the official weight for Jordan Levitt.
155.5 for Jordan Levitt. Straight in from the Contender Series via arm triangle choke against Luke Flores. So some good signs for a future contender right there. But a lot of people come into the UFC with an unbeaten record. This is really
All right, next fighter to the scale
where
in the
you test
UFC's
that
featherweight
record.
division, Damon Jackson.
So we've got Damon Jackson now coming onto the scales. Everyone is flying through today on these scales. I'm very impressed.
One 145, the official weight for Damon Jackson.
145 for Damon Jackson. Damon will be fighting Ilia Topuria in a featherweight 3-round bout.
All right, next fighter to the scale, number 15 in the world in the women's flyweight division, Montana De La Rosa.
Montana De La Rosa stepping onto the scale, who fights a Brazilian Talia Santos. So Montana is on a 1-fight losing streak at the moment against Araujo.
125 3/4, the official weight for Montana De La Rosa.
Her last win was against Mara Barella. She has some wins over some, we've got Rachel Astrovich, who we saw last week. She came through out of the Ultimate Fighter season 26. And she's picked up some nice wins. She's lost against Andrea Lee though. So.
All right, next fighter to the scale, also in the women's flyweight division, her opponent, Tyler Santos.
Tyler Santos stepping on the scale now. Tyler got her last UFC victory over Molly McCann. She fought to a unanimous decision. Looking forward to seeing Molly come back though, I'm sure everybody is. I think the meatball is somewhat of a fan favourite worldwide.
125.5, the official weight for Tyler Santos.
125.5. Yes, I would have to agree with you, MMA wages. I think that's more of a statement about the division at the moment. So I think we've got a little, can't quite tell, but I think we've got a bit of a break in athletes coming through now. I am very much looking forward to seeing this this main event. Jack Hermansson, Martin Vettori. I remember seeing Vettori make his UFC debut on the McGregor 2 card, and he stuck out for me ever since that card. And obviously, we all got to know him very well against Israel Adesanya, he actually fought Israel to a split decision. So I do believe that's the first time. Oh, we've got somebody else coming in now. There's a lot of people in the Wayne's.
All right, next fighter to the scale in the UFC's lightweight division. You can see this one live on ESPN2 as part of the main card, Justin James.
Justin James stepping onto the scale.
– 156, the official weight for Justin James.
156 for Justin James. Not a real split, eh? I assume you're talking about Marvin Vettori and Israel Adesanya with regards to that split. I'm interested to know what everybody thinks about that. Full Reptile Radio will be making a comeback. It's coming back very soon. Owen and Dan will be on there. We've got a few adjustments to make on that podcast, but as soon as we're back in England, that'll be one of our main priorities. So yesterday we got back from Arizona. We spent 1 or 2 days out there with Sean O'Malley, Kyler Phillips, Casey Kenny. Went to the MMA lab where a lot of these guys train. John Crouch, great guy out there leading the MMA lab. But we've got some cool content coming. We arrived in Arizona and we went to the Timbo Sugar Show, which was very cool. We were backstage for that. We've got a little bit of a vlog coming out on that, which should be pretty cool. We've also got an interview with Sean coming out as well. A painted interview, painted with footage, I should explain. But then we've also got a few videos on the MMA lab, like I said, with Kyler Phillips. Kyler's actually coming down to Vegas on Saturday. We're going to make some more content with him at the UFC PI, which should be great as well. These guys are awesome. There are a lot of really good guys coming out of Arizona from the MMA lab. If you guys are fans of the MMA lab, come on, we've got like so many good fighters coming out of there. Put in the comments who your favourite is. For me, Kyler Matrix at the moment. This guy's a really, really cool dude. Very cool guy. Really good fight IQ. And his style is awesome as well. Really cool style. He's just got a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And he's doing a great job. Really, really good job. Kyler, you may remember Kyler from Fight Island. A lot of people were saying that he looked like Masvidal. And he did look a little bit like Masvidal, especially in that fight. He had similar kind of hair. But he fought Cameron Else and won via elbows in a back mount in round 2. But he's awesome, man. He's a really cool guy. He's a proper, like, the dude. You know what I mean? Like the dude from The Big Lebowski. That's what he reminds me of. So yeah, we've got some cool Kyler Phillips stuff coming out. I'm looking forward to getting that out on here and showing you guys. The O'Malley stuff was pretty rad as well. We got to meet his newborn, and she's gorgeous. She's very, very cute little baby. Very happy for him, and he seems to be taking fatherhood in his stride very well. And it was pretty surprising how well he managed to keep that all under wraps as well. Apparently he was saying though that there is a small Easter egg out there in UFC footage, because obviously he didn't announce his pregnancy until he did the Instagram video, which I thought was a joke to start with. But yeah, he seems to be taking it in his stride really well. I was asking him about his mentality. Has it changed his mentality? You know, having a baby and then it being a girl as well. You know, I can imagine that might change your fight mentality a little bit. Maybe your hunger, maybe that could go up, maybe that could go down. All depends really on the person, but it doesn't seem to have changed too much of how Sean is thinking about his fight career in the future, which is quite interesting. Yeah, he was cool. So we went to his new house. Tell you what, man, his new house is amazing. It's beautiful, really cool house. Right on the hill, right on a hill, a mountain. I'm not really sure what exactly it is, but there's a big ass rock sticking out of the ground, and he's at the bottom of that in a beautiful, nice little estate. He's still got his other house as well. And he uses his other house in Arizona for streaming, purely for gaming. So he's got his own gaming house essentially in Arizona, 20 miles down the road, where he'll go and he'll jump on Twitch and get involved on Modern Warfare. So I went round to his house, watched him stream for a little bit. Did get very jealous because I haven't brought my PlayStation with me, and I am a avid Warzone fan. Love Warzone, and watching Sean stream online got me very jealous for a little bit. Sean O'Malley had a baby, for those interested in the chat. Sean is a businessman. I should do audiobooks. That's his. Yeah, his girlfriend as well, Dana. She's lovely. He's got a real good family coming up here.
So 1 second, boys, as I search under the table.
I'm getting sick of this mask. I feel like it's muffling my sound a little bit. Do I sound a little bit better? Please tell me I sound a little bit better and I'm not just looking for a way out. Because I do care about saving all these lives. Yeah, so that's another good thing as well, is that we were chatting about what it means to be undefeated, because Sean gets a lot of stick for saying that he is undefeated after losing. A lot of people have been calling him Sean O'Salty, and I never kind of really got that impression from him. I always assumed it was a mentality thing. You know, remaining undefeated is more of a mentality, is what we discovered whilst talking to Sean about what he means metaphorically and physically by that word undefeated. So we've got some cool stuff coming out, man. I hope you will enjoy it. Does it sound a lot better? Yeah, better with the masks. I sound way better. Okay, brilliant. Well, I'll just stay like this until I get told off. But I can see John Anik not wearing a mask, and a few others. What do we all think to Cheeto and Jose Aldo? Because that is going to be a cracking fight. We've got a bit of a break, boys, if you wanted to jump in, both of you. So we've got a little bit of break in the in the weigh-ins, obviously.
And it's Mike live.
It is live, bro. Yeah.
What's happening, brother?
Not much, my friend. Come round, Jamie.
Fix the hair. Oh, my camera.
Oh. Well, that's what happens when we leave Jamie to. No.
Fucking one joke.
Nah, he's all good. So once Jamie fixes that camera, he'll head up. Here he is. But how are you, Oscar?
I'm well, mate. Well,
Yeah?
it's nice to be back at the UFC. I ruined my streak last week. I'd done every show in the pen.
This is Bet365, so we'll keep it.
Oh,
Yeah.
so don't. Oh, we got a Bet365. It's good for you, man.
Thank you very much, mate.
Congratulations
Thank you.
on the sponsorship.
Yeah, we've had that since day one.
Oh, well, how come I was allowed to swear on Fight Island then?
because they weren't sponsored.
Okay, well there you go then. Right, well, I'll be mature.
So we can't use Bet365 in Abu Dhabi because gambling is illegal in Abu Dhabi.
Oh really?
Yeah. And I'm sure there is a lot of.
So what do you mean? What do you mean you can't use it there?
Well, we can't put the Bet365 logo on any of our stuff that is in Abu Dhabi.
Says who?
Bet365.
Oh, they said that.
Yeah. It's gambling, ain't it? Because
Yeah, but
it's illegal there. But I think they just want to stay
within the
morally ethical as much as possible. As much as possible. I know.
Well, I was more like, oh, you want to never mind. We'll leave that. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Might have to make a few calls myself after this.
What do you think to the Waynes then so far?
Wayne's been very smooth. I enjoyed Vettori's. What do you think of his new look, man? It's a bit Italian History X.
He's what? Oh, the shaved head. You
Yeah.
mean? I'm a fan of the shaved
Yeah,
head.
but you got a beard, so you look a little
True.
bit less right wing.
True.
He needs to get a Fred Perry on and some
True.
Doc Martens, and then he's got the look.
Yeah.
It's been really quick though as well.
Yeah, it's been nice.
There's only 5 people left to win.
Is there? There's only 5 people left. Wow.
Just seems to be on it.
What did you tell you? I tell you what, OSP missing weight, but weighing in second. That's not. A good
I
sign.
know. What's that about?
I mean, and the fact that John Anik said right away, oh, he won't be cutting any more weight. So you'd either have to assume the weight cut was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
For him to just say no, I can't do it, even with 2 hours left to go.
For sure.
It's always curious when you see guys like that do that. But if you're Jamal Hill, I'd say OSP is probably earning a bit more money than you, so I'd probably take his 30% and run with it.
For sure. I bet that's a little bit like getting a fight bonus straight away.
Sure.
Fight of the night bonus.
I always wondered, do fighters think, oh, he's heavier, so it's going to be a harder fight, or do they think, oh, he's heavier, so he must have had an absolutely monstrous weight cut, so I'm going to be better off here?
That's a good question. That is a good question because it depends on the person as well and how much you trust them to a certain
Yeah, and also how heavy are they? I mean, like, so when Zubaira weighed in, was it 5 pounds heavy in Abu Dhabi?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Against
Hakeem.
yes.
So that probably does make you think like, oh man, 5 pounds heavy, that's a lot, considering he's going to inflate as well. But
The
then
thing
if
is,
it's like Mike
man,
Perry doing a dab as well.
the thing is, right, obviously it's a little rich coming from somebody that doesn't have to do it. So with bearing that in mind, I do kind of still feel though that when you get your contract through,
Yeah.
if I was a fighter, I would be then straight away be looking to bring in my diet, pull it down. I'll be making like certain.
I think the biggest issue is a lot of them, I think sometimes we forget in the sport that this is their job and they need the money. Like, if you go
For sure,
if you go
for
so,
sure.
So I think sometimes when that contract comes through and you know within yourself, like, I'm probably too heavy to sign this contract right now, but fuck it, I'll just like wing it and I'll get it down.
For sure.
But you make that decision knowing you're motivated by the cash that you need. That's probably why you get guys missing it by a couple of pounds because they just couldn't do it.
For sure, yeah, no, I get that, but still, I feel like there's so much time to have lost like this weight, and
Yeah.
a little bit of me is always a little bit disappointed when I do see it. But then again, I don't know the trials and tribulations exactly that these fighters are going through, and the obstacles that they've got to overcome to get to that weight.
Depends on who they are as well, right? Like OSP missing weights, an eyeball like that raised your eyebrows a bit because you're like, well, he's a veteran, so you kind of give him the benefit of the doubt that it must have been pretty tough for him
For sure.
for whatever reason. Again, you don't know the trials and tribulations. Like, remember Till in Liverpool? There was he had some personal drama going on.
Yeah. So, fight of the night picks, boys. We'll start with you, Jamie.
Okay, my fight of the night. Said it earlier, Matt Wyman against Jordan Levitt.
Matt Wyman. Jordan Levitt.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good fight. Jordan Levitt coming off the Contender Series, right?
Undefeated as well.
Yeah, undefeated. So
But
yeah, I think
there is something to be said about somebody coming into the UFC with an undefeated record. It is kind of the best testing ground to test that type of record. So we'll see if he can maintain that accolade.
Yeah, that's my fight of the night pick anyway.
Yeah.
What about you, Oscar?
I like the Justin James Gabriel Benitez fight. I like Justin James. He's a local guy in Vegas as well, and he hits very hard. he needs to rebound off his last loss, so I think that has potential to be a nice little scrap.
Yeah, Benitez is from AKA as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that.
Well, then Justin James loses.
I believe that Benitez. Somebody was saying, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Daniel Cormier saying that Benitez has like some of the hardest, most powerful leg kicks in all of the AKA boys.
Making movements.
So I think we've got some. Well, I don't know actually. It is. Have we got right? Brilliant. We've got some more guys coming out. We've only got 5 guys left now. 5 guys. This has been a very smooth weigh-ins. Dan has hair. Enjoying all the banter, boys. Enjoying all the banter. Bring it on. Bring it on, lads. Right, so John Anik has just walked out into the Apex Arena. So through these doors is where the fights will be happening. What you can see so far through these doors is where some of the media will be sitting, right in between this lady and John Anik. Then to your left of that is the octagon. I'd like to show you that, but we are not really at the greatest angle for that. Vegas is amazing. We're having a great time out here.
All right, next fighter to the scale. He is the man around whom this card was built. The number 4 ranked middleweight in the world, Jack the Joker Hermansson.
Here we go. The second half of the main event. Jack Hermansson in a middleweight bout. 5-round bout this is. Whenever I see Jack, I find out that Jack used to work in a pet shop before he was an MMA fighter, working with endangered species.
185 and a half.
185
for Jack Hermansson.
185 and a half for Jack Hermansson. I always thought it would be a cool fight name. Should have been called the Pet Shop Boy. I would like to ask him a little bit more about that, because I do think that's a very, very interesting profession to have been working in. Very empathetical profession, and then to step into beating people up. It's very, very cool. He's also been a substitute teacher, assistant teacher, and worked as a bartender before coming through on the Cage Warriors scene and then coming into the UFC. But Jack, in my opinion, is definitely one of the guys to be looking out for the next couple of years, run into that title shot.
So only 4 guys left.
There is, there's only 4 guys left, Jamie.
Who's left to actually work?
So we have got so far, we need Jamal Hill to weigh in. Who's fighting over in St. Peru in a light heavyweight free. We've had the main event all weigh in.
Yeah.
Jack Hermansson and Marvin Vettori. Marvin looked.
Yeah, he looked
Marvin
pumped,
looked good
yeah.
and pumped, man.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's going to happen. And obviously, I don't know what's going to happen in the fight, but like more so than any fight recently that I've seen, it's like it could go anywhere.
Yeah.
I do think it's probably going to end up on the ground though for somewhat of the fight.
Yeah, I think Hermansson's probably going to want to take it there.
Yeah, look for that heel hook.
Yeah, the Joker team as well.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, looking forward to that fight. Have we still got the first 2 heavyweights on the prelim to weigh in?
Jake
GM?
Collier.
Yeah.
And
Jake Collier as well.
Villante.
He actually, I think his first 4 fights in the UFC were actually at middleweight.
Were they?
Yeah, and then I think he had 2 fights at light heavyweight, and then his last fight he lost to Aspinall at heavyweight.
Really?
Yeah, so
That's
I
very
think
interesting.
This is
We've seen Cannoneer do something very similar to that.
Yeah. The transit, but Cannonier's come down,
Yeah.
whereas Collier's gone up.
Yep.
So are these just
He must be living next to you and in and out.
yeah. But yeah, that was interesting. I found that quite interesting.
Yeah, me too, man.
So yeah, this will be his second fight at heavyweight in the UFC. Because I seen a picture of him, and he looked like shredded, like ripped up, and I was like, he doesn't look like that now on his UFC profile picture. And
Also, what's going on in the back there?
so
There's
yeah,
no
look-
commotion.
No.
Someone's just happy to see someone by the looks of it. When looking at fighters, I'm super interested in a few things, and they're usually nothing to do with their fighting career or whatever. But I was just talking about Jack Hermansson and his old job before he did, follow his dream and become an MMA fighter. And he was a pet shop boy working with endangered species, which
Really?
I always find that really interesting because, to be a fighter, I think there's a certain type of character, isn't it, that it takes to become a fighter. Not in every single case, but I'd say 80% of the time. You've got to have a certain mentality, and possibly being overly empathetical isn't one of your traits.
No.
But it's really cool to see fighters
And you must be able to have the ability to turn that off, that kind of empathy.
Yeah,
When
for sure.
every day you live your life, and like you said, work in a pet shop, you're looking after animals, taking care of animals,
Definitely.
and then next day you're walking into a cage and
That's it.
hitting someone in the face.
I know. And then you read more about this guy and you're finding out, who are your heroes and inspirations, and he's saying things like his mum.
Yeah.
And that's great. I really like to see that kind of ooh, what's going on here?
But that's what I mean. It just shows it's the art form and the sport. It's a sport, and they're athletes at the end of it, and they're just performing.
And then they say a lot, we're just normal people like everybody else. And some of them are. A lot of them are. But there's some that are definitely not normal. But Hermansson as well, with regards to some of his fighting heroes, who would have you have thought would be a Hermansson hero based on his style and everything?
Based on his style, I'm not quite sure. Maybe so I always think guys like Anderson Silva are always the big inspiration for
a lot of people. Yeah.
But no, I'm not sure.
Did you know? Just because you've just made my brain go do a tangent. Have you seen that Khabib Nurmagomedov has been? He's going to be the first mixed martial artist to be entered into Sports Personality of the Year, the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. Let me see who he's up against. But in the United Kingdom, it used to be quite a momentous accolade, didn't it? Being Sportsman of the Year from
David Beckham, Freddie Flintoff, all those.
And for Khabib to be the first mixed martial artist to be entered into that's very cool.
I know he's been recently pushing, for it to become an Olympic sport as well, and
he's
been
doing
involved in that.
Definitely. See, the cool thing with Khabib is that I've watched a lot of their content on YouTube, and on I Am Bay, which is the AKA YouTube channel, where if you guys haven't seen it, head over to I Am Bay. Not now, but later.
It's all the camaraderie between Cormier, Khabib, and all those guys. AKA.
That's it. It's just
funny, man.
fly on the wall gym stuff between picking up the banter, picking up the wrestling, picking up so many different aspects of their lives in the gym. And it's really cool to see. But I remember I was watching that show once, and they were having the discussion of greatest fighter of all time, and the greatest fighter of all time being somebody that did a lot outside the octagon.
Yeah, for sure.
The Muhammad Ali's, and Khabib always mentions this, but I think his dad installed this into him from a very early age, from what I can tell. But to be a great fighter is to be great inside and outside the octagon.
Yeah.
Which is why now when we're seeing him step away from fighting, he's working on so many different avenues to help people.
Mhm.
You know, as soon as he retired, it's not about me anymore, it's about Islam. Things like that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And trying to get mixed martial arts into as an Olympic sport, going over to Uzbekistan to try and
exactly.
like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like he's
a fighter in.
he's a real
more than one
ambassador
way.
for mixed martial arts,
Mhm.
and that type of thing goes a long way with people working in the industry, with kids looking up to these kind of fighters. But I've kind of forgot how I got there. Off Jack Hermansson.
Yeah, his inspiration. But I was saying,
Yeah.
was it like someone like Anderson Silva? But who is his inspiration?
It's Alexander Gustafsson.
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I'd love to see them two train together. That'd be very cool.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Gustafsson, and it was cool to be at his what we thought was his retirement fight.
Oh yeah,
Didn't
against
actually
Anthony Smith.
end up being his retirement fight.
That was I think that was our second.
Or did it?
We did UFC London last year, Darren Till, Masvidal, and then I think our first UFC card away outside the UK was
Sweden,
Stockholm. Anthony Smith and Gustafsson.
Oh yeah, he did come back against
Verdun.
Yeah. Forgot about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, came back.
Because he went up to heavyweight, didn't he?
He did an exhibition bout in AK fighting in between Anthony Smith and Verdun. I did not know about that. Was that a grappling tournament?
It was just an exhibition.
Yeah. So
10-minute one round.
Yes, grappling. So, where are we? Khabib will be the empire of the world. I am just looking at some of your guys' comments, catching up with your comments. We've got a few more people in the chat now, which is nice. Thank you very much for joining. Really appreciate everyone coming over to Full Reptile to tune in and watch the live weigh-in show. If you have literally just tuned in, the camera doesn't stay on us the whole time. We just thought you'd rather see who's talking than look at a empty scale.
Yeah.
But we've only got 4 fighters left to weigh in. I do believe we've got Smolker's weighed in, right?
Yeah, Smolker weighed in. Yeah.
Jordan Levitt, Matt Weaver.
I think the first
Cody
two
Durant, Damon
heavyweights,
Jan
Jan Vellante, Jake Collier, need to weigh in still.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those guys. And then we've just got one more, and I think that might be
Jamal
Roman
Hill obviously needs to weigh in.
But I'm very impressed with these weigh-ins that they're doing here. I'm actually a little bit worried though, because everything is going very streamlined here at the UFC during this COVID era. Well, inside the heart of it at least. But I'm a bit worried about when we go back to real life UFC events, because I don't know if they're going to want to change much, because everything is just so smooth and quick now for them, you know. The one thing that I don't like is the media day. We're doing virtual media days, and they're just not the same, are they?
No, not really.
And the guys with priority are like people that aren't here. So you're getting like YouTubers, like with a couple of thousand subs, calling in and being the first people to and ask some questions. And I prefer. Oh, here we go. I thought that was Izzy for a second. It's Jamal here, yeah.
All right, next fighter to the scale, one half of the co-main event, live on ESPN2 tomorrow night, the light heavyweight division, Jamal Hill.
So Jamal Hill stepping on the scale here. This is a light heavyweight bout with Ovince St. Peru, who missed weight.
.205.5, the official weight for Jamal Hill.
205.5 for Jamal Hill. Muffling something underneath his mask that I'm not sure any of us could audit. I just heard the word eat. So I assume he's hungry. But this guy, man, this guy has a very, very clean record. Most impressive win, in my opinion, was against Darko Stosic. Because Darko is an animal. Absolute animal. We got to see Darko fight on that Gustafsson Smith card. I've been very impressed with Darko's journey in the UFC. Although I do say that it is very important to also remember that he has also been on a 3-fight losing streak, has Darko Stosic. I feel like Jamal Hill coming out of the Contender Series is going to be a really good test for Ovince St. Peru. And yeah, sorry, getting distracted here. Yeah, it was 207.5. Just catching up with all of these comments. It's nice to see a few of the usual boys in here. Shout out to Keith the Beef. Always supporting Full Reptile. Thank you very much, bro. Thank you everybody for joining, and cheers. So we have 3 guys left to weigh in now, right?
Yeah, only 3 left. And
then
no doubt someone will come in at 1 minute to 11.
Yeah, 100%. I'd love to be allowed to film how they organise and run these weigh-ins behind those curtains over there, because I've never seen really what's going on behind there until Nicholas Dalby sent us his video.
Yeah.
So if you go to Instagram on Raptors MMA Instagram, Raptors MMA, all one word, somewhere down there in the past 2 weeks, Nicholas Dalby was wearing like a small little GoPro kind of camera, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
kind of like a spy camera.
Yeah, it was
Sits
kind
on
of
your
spy
chest.
cammy, and it was like hanging right in where your solar plex is, and he basically recorded his weigh-in, didn't he?
And
So
face
walking
off.
onto the stage, walking onto the stage, face off was probably the best bits. Well, facing off, who did he fight again? So many fights, man. I've
He
completely
fought-
forgot.
I can't remember either. Should know that.
Anyway, who did he fight, man? Short-term memory has
He fought
gone.
Daniel Rodriguez.
That's it, Daniel Rodriguez. And so he was wearing this spy cam, and then he took himself all the way backstage whilst wearing it.
Yeah.
And it looks like they've got like a little bit to the left of when we shoot the camera through that door. There's just like a nice little seating arrangement, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like social distance.
Mhm.
But they all look like where the fighters sit, so it looks like the fighters are all sat next to each other, socially distanced with their rehydration bags underneath.
Yeah. It's just like a queuing system, so I guess whoever gets here first, you just sit down and wait.
Yeah.
Because you have 2 hours from 9 a.m. till 11 a.m. to weigh in.
Thank you, everybody, for the Daniel Rodriguez.
So, yeah.
We are like about 30, 40 seconds ahead of you guys as well, so... I did actually figure it out eventually. I didn't even figure it out, actually. Jamie got it up on Google.
Oh, what, Dalby Rodriguez?
Yeah, go over it. We've got some more war rooms coming, haven't we, Jamie?
Yeah, we've got Tony Ferguson against Oliveira. That
Yes.
should be.
Ferguson versus Oliveira. That's our next one we're going to be working on, isn't
Yeah,
it? And
yeah.
we just got out last night.
Yeah, so last
Figueiredo.
night was Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. Really looking forward to that fight. Like, so much.
Yeah, me too.
Mainly because of Figueiredo. But
Do you think Figueiredo is gonna
yeah, I
gonna
just
win?
can't see him getting beat.
Can you not?
Honestly, yeah. It's like that. Probably not on the same level as Habib, but it's just there's certain fighters that you just can't visualize losing.
Yeah, definitely. And do you know what? I couldn't visualize Khabib losing, but I've seen Khabib lose. Everyone can go on YouTube and watch him lose,
Yeah.
and it is not how I expected him to lose.
Yeah.
Like there's one video on YouTube if you want to go out and look for it, and it's Habib in a oh, someone's calling me. Definitely not picking that up. Where was I going with this?
Habib losing.
Yes, Habib losing on YouTube in a Sambo match.
Yeah.
Very young. He was very young at the time. He looks very young, at
Mhm.
least in the bout. But it was a good fight to watch as well. And when he loses, he just falls straight to his knees with his hands in his head. Very similar, in fact, to how we saw him win against Justin Gaethje. So ever since I saw that, I have been able to visualize Habib losing, which, and now I'm not a Habib hater. I've just always thought that when someone's so dominant,
Mhm.
for me, I think the consequences are far more interesting when that person loses.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
For sure. Maybe that was the turning point. You know what I mean? So from then on, it was just he didn't want to feel like that again.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it's interesting you said, like, sometimes the way he celebrated the loss, sorry, not celebrated the loss, but the way he lost and showed those emotions there, and then the way he, even though he won against, I know obviously it was more to do with his father being involved and stuff, but the winning and losing emotions must feel in a way kind of the same, like a sense of release.
Yeah.
Like, even if you've lost or you've won, the fight's still over, and it's just that kind of pressure off your shoulders a little bit. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
It does a little bit. I do think though that when you lose, the feeling is different.
Yeah, no, I know they're different, but yeah.
Yeah, I think when you lose like that, it can either send you down, like, this is it though. This, I do know what you're saying, but this is like the mentality of somebody like Habib is just so different to our mentality.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
And like losing that Sambo fight must have been like the end of the world for him, especially because of the pressure that his dad put on him, and you know, he was the crown jewels of the family essentially.
Yeah.
But then watching him win and cry are very different emotions. I think winning and losing, they are really interesting points psychologically, and it is very interesting to see how certain people handle both of those. I do think if Khabib did lose in the UFC, it might have been emotional.
Mhm.
But that in itself is a little bit of a contradiction to how Khabib carries himself, because he never ever wants to show signs of weakness ever. So yeah, that is very interesting. I could sit here with a crystal ball and, you know, man, I remember in primary school people used to ask like, what would one of your wishes be? And one of my wishes used to always be to have like this little computer where I could type in what would happen if, and I could like watch it play out on my phone exactly like to the case. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Like a predict the future iPhone. or
Yeah, like
something.
what would happen if I ran on stage right now and weighed myself in, and I could like play it and see everything that would have all the consequences, I could look into.
Weighing
It
it.
would be well
2
cool.
grams.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. Do you guys have any good questions regarding any of these fights? If so, chuck them in the chat and we'll try and get a conversation started about them all. I'm just reading through some of these.
But no, I was saying, sorry, back to the war rooms.
Yes, back to the
We've
war
got-
rooms.
Someone is coming to weigh in. It's Jake Collier, I think.
I can't see. So we've got some more guys stepping on the scales now.
All right, next fighter to the scale in the UFC's heavyweight division, the prototype Jake Collier.
Jake Collier, sorry. 3-round heavyweight bout to open the ESPN prelims against Gian Villante. So we all saw Jake Collier in Fight Island fighting the United Kingdom's Tom Aspinall.
264 and a half, the official weight for Jake Collier.
264 and a half for Jake Collier. Fought Tom Aspinall and lost in the first round to a right cross from Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is definitely one of my picks for a future champion in the heavyweight division for sure. The guy is awesome. Really, really crisp boxing. And he actually trains with Tyson Fury, which, I mean, I don't know if there is anybody else better to learn from in the game of boxing right now than possibly Tyson Fury, especially if you're a heavyweight like Tom Aspinall is.
Sorry, yeah. As I was saying about the war
John.
rooms that are coming out.
John weighed in. John has weighed in on weight. Aspinall is great. He's awesome. Really, really, really good fighter. I actually sat down with Tom in Abu Dhabi before his fight with Jake Collier, sorry. And we had a really good chat about inside and outside of fighting. And Tom is a really interesting guy. Very cerebral, very calm. Just like it's like if you met Tom Aspinall like on a bus,
Yeah, normal dude, isn't he?
super normal dude, you'd walk away like, man, that guy is proper nice guy, like proper gentle giant, really, really down to earth, like can have a conversation with you. And it's like, yeah, he's probably one of the most down to earth fighters I think I've ever come across. I really, really, really respect Tom Aspinall a lot. So I'm looking forward to seeing him coming in. But he beat Jake Collier, who just weighed in, who is fighting a heavyweight 3-round bout against Gian Villante.
Mm-hmm.
God, whose pronunciations are worse? Ours or the Fight Disciples? And please, if you haven't seen Fight Disciples, go over and listen to their pronunciations before voting.
I think we've done all right
Yes,
so
Keith.
far on this card.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, bro. There will be some more Fighter Psyches coming out. We are just kind of like so we went to, for those that have just joined, we went to Arizona on Tuesday, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we actually stopped off at the Grand Canyon on the way down, which was mad.
Oh man.
Not that you guys probably care about that, but it was killer. It was
Takes your breath
super
away.
killer. So from the Grand Canyon, we drove down to Arizona, got Airbnb. Then in the morning, we went over to the Timbo Sugar Show Studios.
That was really cool, man.
That was very cool, man. It was awesome. We pulled up with our 360 cameras, armed to the teeth in camera equipment, and basically went in and sat through a Timbo Sugar Show podcast.
Yeah.
And then kind of created a little bit of a behind the scenes to some
Yeah.
extent, I suppose, of the Timbo Sugar Show. Then as soon as that finished, Kyler Matrix Phillips busting, who has his studio right next to O'Malley's studio.
One of the nicest guys as well.
For
I've met
sure.
in the sport.
For sure.
Kyler. legend.
Kyler, yeah, he might be one of my favourites as well, if not my favourite. But he reminds me, like, when you look at Kyler Phillips, I expect him to be like a proper G, a little bit like Masvidal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then when you start talking to him, like, he reminds me more of the dude from Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski. Yeah.
It's just like,
Very chilled out.
dude,
Yeah.
that's cool, bro.
Yeah, loves the outdoors as well. He was showing
For
us
sure.
some cool trails and treks and like waterfalls in Arizona.
Yeah, some of them are
which look
amazing.
amazing.
He's a big camper, right? He's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
down to Yosemite.
Yeah, he's going to Yosemite. I think at the weekend, but
He
he's
is.
passing through Vegas
He's
here.
passing through and he's going to come meet up with us, and we're going to go to the UFC PI with Kyler Phillips and just hang out for a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Make a little bit of content, do a
Mhm.
little interview, film a bit of his training, and then we'll get that out onto Full Reptile as soon as possible, really. We've got tons of stuff coming out on Full Reptile. All these war rooms. Take us through those war rooms quickly. Who we've got?
Yeah, so obviously last night we had Figueiredo versus, well, firstly I should say Jack Hermansson and Marvin Vettori War Room is up, so go check that out for the fight this weekend. And so that one came out a couple of days
Got
ago.
COVID.
Last night we started releasing ones for UFC 256, and the first one out was Davison Figueiredo against Brandon Moreno, the main event. And we've got 3 more from that event coming out. We've obviously got the co-main event between Ferguson and Oliveira. And then after that we've got JDS versus Cyril Gane, which again, I'm very much looking forward to that
I'm looking
fight.
forward to that.
Cyril Gane is...
He's
yeah,
a monster,
he
dude.
is a
Well, I remember
monster.
walking past him in Fight Island, and I have never in my life felt so puny. Actually, that's a lie. That is a lie. I've felt puny many times. Do you know what? The worst puny moment was definitely interviewing Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, man. I have never in my life felt so puny. Sat next to Tom Aspinall, just looked like a cocktail sticks, like
Like a borrower next to him.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I did bring up my insecurities to Tom in the moment, and he made me. He didn't really make me feel much better, to be fair. he's just a beast, man. It's so weird, like when I'm alone, and when I'm alone, and like I'll like catch myself in a mirror or looking down or whatever, just like yeah, I think I look normal. And then as soon as like I bump into someone like Tom Aspinall, I'm like, oh shit, right, no,
The
you're
scale.
puny, mate.
The thing is, maybe the thing is with heavyweights, they are insanely
Puny
big.
weight.
Like,
Yeah,
like
dude, they are,
above
man.
average.
They are,
Like,
like-
normal human beings are like average, like 5'8", 5'9",
Yeah.
I think.
for sure. The thing is though, like when you're like talking to people who don't really know much about fighting,
Mm.
they'd like look at people like me and you and be like, "Well, so yeah, you like lightweight, yeah?" Just like, no, we'd be
Yeah.
like, fucking flyweight.
Yeah, if that even.
Yeah, but even these lightweights, the guys that walk around as lightweights are definitely fighting not in the lightweight division, as we all know, typically.
All right, next
anyway.
fighter to the scale in the UFC's light heavyweight division, Roman Dolidze.
Roman Dolidze. I'm just copying John Anik with these pronunciations because mine will not do it justice. So Roman is fighting John Allen in a 3-weight light heavyweight bout. And Roman's looking good, looks in shape.
205, the official weight for Mr. Dolidze.
205 for Dolidze, Roman Dolidze. So what's that, boys? We got one more left to weigh in? Villante, is it? So we got one more weigh-in now until we go to our face-offs. I think if I was a fighter, unless I was maybe champion and wanted to prove a point, I don't think I'd come out first, because there's just like 2 hours of doing nothing until you face off.
Yeah. Maybe they see it, but then
They
that
could be
extra 2 hours is
rehydration
rehydration
and then looking bigger
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
face off. Yeah,
exactly.
there is.
You start
That's a good point.
your body kind of recovering, I guess, from
Mm.
the weight cut sooner.
For sure, yeah.
So yeah, that 2 hours would probably make a difference, if that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. I never really thought about it like that. I just assumed, like, after a big weight cut, sitting on a chair in a dark room amongst people that you could potentially be fighting one day is like a not ideal
But
place
know
where you want to be.
how you feel when you're like dehydrated, you're hungry, you're like worn out.
Exactly.
Like, I'd want to get in so I can just start drinking water and eating
True.
again.
Yeah, I bet it doesn't even enter their brain really. That It's just
Imagine how
water.
hungry you'd be.
Who, me? I'd get hangry, bro. Yeah, that's something I've only realised about myself in the past year, is that I get hangry.
Yeah, it's the low blood sugar though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I know, like diabetics are notoriously known for being really angry, and you know, if they've got a low blood. Because my sister's type 1 diabetic, and she can be real bad when she's on a low.
Yeah.
I guess it's the same thing when you've got a low blood sugar level. You're not 8 for.
Jordan Williams is diabetic,
Oh,
UFC
yeah,
fighter,
yeah.
fought on Fight Island. And what I was going to get at to your points were that they can't cut weight if they're diabetic.
Yeah.
So you have to manage your diet a little bit more throughout, you know, the whole 2 or 3 months that you've got that fight contract.
Yeah, so
That's what I was saying earlier, is that like more fighters should really take that approach as if they were
Yeah.
diabetic and start cutting slowly and sensibly right from. I mean, I'm sure they think they do, and some of them are doing that, but definitely there's people that only take the weight cut into consideration really a couple of weeks out
you
from
would
the fight.
think that you would just try and maintain a weight, so when it does come to cutting even just a little bit, you don't notice much of a difference.
That's it. Got to stay ready.
Yeah, but then again, like I suppose
Like
when
if I
you're
was
not
a-
fighting for a while, and in
But
and
still,
out
if
burgers
that's my
pretty
job,
tempting.
and if I'm a lightweight and then I'm next week walking around at like 180,
yeah,
then yeah, it's a very convoluted discussion, to be fair, because
you've
there's a
al-
lot of different factors that weigh in for completely different people, and it's case by case, really, to a certain degree. But talking about if it was to be made in my case, I'd get thinking about that straight from the go, so that fight week isn't such a problem. Do you know what I mean? But
sorry, do you then lose the advantage when you step into the cage?
probably, yeah. I do get it, because cutting last minute, you can get it. It's mainly just water anyway that they're losing, and they can rehydrate and jump back up. But I don't know, man. It's just because we see so many fighters missing weight all the time, and I know that it is arguably quite dangerous the way that it is ran. But it comes down to like fighter choice, in my opinion. These fighters are choosing to try and get that weight advantage, so that's why they're cutting so drastically a lot of the time. So yeah, it's a problem that me and you certainly can't solve.
Yeah.
Does anyone remember Jordan Williams fighting on a Contender Series? That guy? Yeah, I do. We had the privilege to meet him as well in Fight Island, I think that's super interesting. I'd like to actually follow Jordan Williams, even make something with him on how he manages to fight in the UFC whilst being diabetic, and what kind of problems that kind of arises for you as a fighter. I think that would be really interesting. So I might actually try and get on that.
You just have to be on point with everything you eat all the time, and when you exercise, you have to count for.
I'm not sure, Papa. Can a diabetic fighter use insulin between rounds? I assume no. I do assume no because, well, if you're asthmatic, you definitely can't use an inhaler, as we found out with Greg Hardy, who used an inhaler mid-round. Greg's actually fighting on the 18th. Who's he fighting again?
He's fighting.
Greg's doing really well, man. Greg Hardy. Separate the art from the artist. I'm into Greg's fighting style, especially as it's something that is very, very new to the Prince of War. Let's have a little look, shall we? Oh yeah, he's fighting Marcin Tybura.
Tybura. He looked wicked in his last fight.
Yeah.
Tybura did.
Yeah.
For a heavyweight, his head moved really, really, really good.
That is going to be a good fight, man. That is going to be a good fight. So that fight, Greg Hardy, Marcin Tybura, is, I think that's on the 19th. Sorry, that poster took me by surprise because I haven't seen that
the
yet.
new main event.
Yeah. So we've had Leon Edwards and Khamzat Chimaev. Obviously, that's been pulled from the 19th of December, so we're a little bit good about that. We're looking forward to that. But you never know. That might end up somewhere, hopefully on Fight Island or somewhere where we can cover it still.
I think the anticipation for that fight now as well will make it an even bigger fight.
Definitely. And I was kind of surprised in a good way that they didn't just find a new opponent for Khamzat and they've stapled Leon to Khamzat now, which is good for Leon, because obviously Leon is, he's getting swept under the carpet left, right and centre. Every opportunity to put him under the carpet, he'll go under the carpet. So it's quite nice to see him be, as I said, stapled into a fight with Khamzat, and not just found Khamzat a new opponent, which I wouldn't have minded either, to be completely frank, because okay, so we thought someone was coming out then, but they weren't. But this card on the 19th of December looks absolutely insane. How on earth this is a fight night and not a pay-per-view? It's crazy, man. You got Anthony Pettis, Greg Hardy, Jose Aldo, Marlon Vera, Marlon Moraes, Jeff Neal, Wonderboy, Belal Muhammad.
And even you've got further down Belal Muhammad, Diego Lima.
Yeah.
Damn.
Sergio Eubanks,
Williams,
Michael Pereira, Chaos Williams, as Jamie said, Darren Wynn. So there's names on this card for sure, which does make me wonder why this is not a pay-per-view. I think they could have definitely squeezed that an extra pay-per-view into 2020 with this card. What do you guys think to this card? And is there any standout fights on here that are being underlooked? Chuck them into the comments, because I'd like to know. Just gonna have a look back at Greg Hardy's career. So Greg Hardy is probably, when I met Greg Hardy for the first time, it was in American Top Team, and I was with Dan, and we went to American Top Team, and we just got content with loads of different fighters, from Pedro Munez to Amanda Nunes, Masvidal. Our Masvidal video that we made Dan Hardy meets Masvidal. I'm sure you've all seen that. If not, go and check it out on YouTube. It's like an hour and 20 minutes long, and it was just it's like videos like that we never even planned to make.
Mm-hmm.
We just capitalized on a moment and turned it into like an hour long special, really. But they're the kind of things I love doing the most, where you don't plan anything with fighters. You kind of like turn up and something happens out of the feeling of just being together. A little bit like what happened with Sean O'Malley 2 days ago. We didn't even expect to do anything with Sean when we got to Arizona. We just thought we'll go to the Timbo Sugar Show and that would be it, really. See Kyler Phillips, go to the MMA lab. But Sean was like, he's like very hospitable and took us. He was just like, oh, we're gonna go do some Muay Thai, do you want to come? Jumped in his Polaris slingshot.
Yeah, that's a badass car.
Yeah, so it's like it's things like that I think are the best content. So what I was getting at was we were at American Top Team, and Greg Hardy was on the mats, and my God, man, that guy is huge. He is huge, man. I just, like, when he stood next to me, it was just like,
even on the thumbnail of Dan. And
that's what I was getting to, yeah. We ended up doing a sit-down interview with Greg and Dan. And if you go just search Greg Hardy and Dan Hardy in YouTube, and the thumbnail it says everything, doesn't it? Like
he's holding him in his hand.
Dan's like all the way down here, and like Greg's like taking up 50% of the screen to the right. Part of that may have been perspective, but did look crazy. He's a huge dude, but he's somebody that I've been impressed with because he hasn't took any shortcuts really, and he's wanted to learn, and the way he's wanting to learn has been pretty cool, man. He was staying and living at American Top Team, completely immersing himself in the culture of American Top Team. Every single day, waking up training, and you know, he's had fights outside of the UFC as well before.
Well, the thing is, I think he came from NFL, right, as well?
Yeah, he was in
So
Rise of the Warrior,
having
LFA.
That mentality as an athlete anyway, especially playing somewhere like the NFL, you've got that work ethic anyway. But he could have marketed himself a lot differently as well, like a bit NFL style coming into the UFC. But like you said, he's kind of immersed himself from the beginning and learnt from the bottom, really, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. So he's got 2 losses: Alexander Volkov and Alan Crowder. Illegal knee, wasn't it? And then I remember that illegal knee. But yeah, we've got a lot to look forward to for the rest of the UFC for this year in 2020, which was something I wasn't sure we would actually ever get to say. March time of 2020. Was not sure what was going to happen, but it's great, man. When you think about where the world's at really at the moment, and I slightly feel like we have to some degree managed to escape a part of that. I feel very lucky to be here and to be covering these fights and to be a part of these UFC events. It's very cool. So Sean should be announcing something soon with regards to his fight. He did tell us that he signed the contract and now they're waiting for his opponent to sign the contract. But you'll all find out.
Yeah, it'd be good to see him back.
Yeah, I'm
in
really
the
looking
octagon
forward
as
to
well.
see him. Sean is an incredible fighter, man, and just watching him hit pads yesterday just reminded me of that that awesome style that he's got, and how exciting he is as a fighter. So it's a shame that he has had some ankle injuries during his UFC career, but his mentality is strong at the moment. He's just got a new child, which is only going to add to his mental strength, really. But we've got some cool videos coming out with him that we won't give too much away now about. But keep your eye out on Full Reptile, because we'll be having a lot of good content from Sean, Kyler Phillips, Casey Kenny, John Crouch, MMA Lab, Timbo's Sugar Show. We've got more Kyler Phillips stuff this weekend for those that have just joined. We'll be going to the UFC PI with Kyler. We might even try and squeeze in a hike if we can with him. That'd be cool. A little walk and talk kind of podcast kind of thing. We'll see what he's doing, because he's going to be with his girl, and I think they've got some plans, but we'll try and do that. And then I'm trying to line up a fighter psyche with Joanne Calderwood, which is pretty much probably sorted. We bumped into John Wood, didn't we, in Best Buy?
Yeah.
Syndicates, John Wood, and we're going to get some stuff done with him as well. But we've got a lot to do. We've got so much to edit. We're kind of like, since coming back from Arizona, we're a bit lagged up now, aren't we? A bit blocked up with loads of content that we've got to put out. So we're going to concentrate on the war rooms first.
Yeah.
We'll get those war rooms out to you guys as soon as possible. Obviously the fight week stuff that we're doing, that gets top priority post shooting, and all that stuff gets put out straight away. But in terms of O'Malley content, Kyler Phillips content, Casey Kenny content, MMA Lab content, UFC PI content, we'll be trying to leak those out during the next week and get them straight over to you guys.
Yeah, but the war rooms, like I said, for people who haven't heard, there is 2 out at the minute. One for this weekend, Jack Hermansson, Marvin Vettori, so make sure you go check that out. That is out now on the channel. And last night, the UFC 256 main event between Figueiredo and Moreno, that is currently out as well, so make sure you go check those 2 out. And
so if you like a good breakdown,
yeah,
just go to our channel and check out Dan's latest war rooms, because they're great. They're really, really good. We've got Dan, which one is the one with the TV? Hermansson Vettori.
Yeah.
Well, the Hermansson Vettori one out. Dan sat with his TV, with his iPad. So we've got lots of fights on the TV, lots of slowing down, lots of highlightings of positions and things like that. The kind of thing that Dan really likes to get into for the Vettori and Hermansson war room. And then the Figueiredo one is just lightly painted with some a lot of statistics. Yeah, it's a really good one, that is.
Yeah, and there is 3 more coming your way as well.
Yeah, there's going to be will there be some more coming as well for 19th? Yeah, Wonder Boy and that. So we are going to be chock-a-block now with videos and content, so that's great. And if any of you guys want us to do anything with any Vegas, that reminds me, we got Dan Ige. He's Dan Ige. Yeah, he's back. Well, he's currently away at the minute.
He is in Hawaii, right?
We've been chatting to Dan. We'll be doing some stuff with Dan. Might get a fighter psyche in with Dan. Speak about some of the psychology behind fighting and some of the nuanced moments that people don't really discuss because they throw it away. So that should be pretty cool. Do you guys ever bet on MMA? Yes. An accumulator on Bet365 usually is what I do.
Yeah, I'm not really a gambling man, but
Dan seemed a bit sad that you weren't there. No, I think Dan was sad that he wasn't here. But maybe he was sad that we weren't there, to be honest. Maybe he was sad about that. I bet it's going to feel great for Dan when we get back to England, and because all the footage that you're seeing from Dan is Dan filming and setting it up himself, so props to Dan for all of that. Really is one of the most hard-working guys in the sport, and I did not really realise until I met him.
Our final fighter to weigh in this morning in the UFC's heavyweight division, MacArthur High School's finest, John Vellante.
John Vellante stepping onto the scales, who's fighting Jake Collier in a 3-round heavyweight bout. Let's see what the scales have to say.
.243, the official weight for John Vellante.
243 for John Vellante. So I think that wraps up the weigh-ins. Next, we will be doing the face-offs, which should be interesting. I somehow have a feeling that this main event face-off is going to be a little bit spicy. Yeah, no worries.
Oscar.
Yeah, OSP missed weight. Hey up, Craig. It's good to see the boys in the chat every time. Proper full Reptile fans. Yeah, we did actually just speak about that, Nick. I think he's on his way of becoming one of the greatest combat athletes of all time, inside and outside the octagon, but certainly trying to increase his outside the octagon resume. Are we going straight into the face-offs? More or less, Keith, more or less. I think there'll probably be about a 5-10 minute stall. Let me show you what's going on over here. So, this is what happens after the weigh-ins have occurred. Sorry, I'm multitasking here now, lads. Jamie's nipped to the toilet. But the scale gets taken out, gets put in its closet, and then the face-offs will occur. We will have blue corner, I believe, from this side, and we will have red corner coming out of here, I believe. That's how it's usually been. But I'm looking forward to these face-offs. Let me know in the comments who you think is going to have the most entertaining face-off. Oh, actually, I'm going to put that back on as my bad, boys. I'll wait for the face-offs to begin before I do that. There we go. We are kitted out now as well. We went down to Best Buy and bought a few new bits of equipment. So if you've been watching on Fight Day live from the media tent, typically we only have one Zoom, but now we've bought another Zoom so I can keep up the good audio quality throughout the whole of the show. Typically what was happening is when a fighter was coming in for their post-fight interview, I'd have to unplug, give it Jamie, and then everybody was just getting my audio from my laptop, which wasn't ideal. So we've invested in a new Zoom, I've also got myself, we got ourselves a new iPad, which is awesome. Been doing all of our research on here. It's very handy for interviews and things like that. Came in handy with Sean. Very cool. So we've upgraded a little bit for you boys. Hopefully we can put it all to good use for everyone. Hermansson a toe injury. That's not me, by the way, saying that. I was reading a comment just in case. Yeah, it's definitely fake. Thank you very much to the Wattcast. Appreciate that a lot. What do we think, boys, about the Vettori and Diaz brothers relationship? Now, if you have been following this channel for a little while, or following me, you will know that I am a big Diaz fan. Both of them, both brothers, huge Diaz fans. I can't wait to see Nate back. And there was rumours the other day of Nick Diaz's manager talking to ESPN about him fighting in 2021. That's Nick Diaz, and his manager said it was 99.999999999% gonna happen. So that is something that I am mad looking forward to. Jeez, that's something I never in my life thought I'd ever go to, was a Nick Diaz fight. So if Nick comes back, you can definitely count on me being there. I was reading a comment. What's your dream fight now in the UFC? My dream fight now in the UFC. I have a few different dream fights, to be completely honest with you. I have dream fights that aren't realistic. I have dream fights that are impossible. And I have dream fights that are likely dream fights. But my dream fights, typically, they're probably never ever going to happen. But one of my dream fights that I think could possibly happen is Masvidal McGregor. I am super keen on seeing that. I think that's like, I don't see that fight getting stopped, and I see it a little bit like Diaz McGregor too, I guess, but a little bit more intense. Maybe Masvidal with the better cardio gets the win in the 3rd, 4th, 5th. I'm just speculating obviously here, guys, but that is a dream fight. That is a realistic dream fight in my opinion. Yes Prince, Nick Diaz versus Dan Hardy is the only fight I want to see. I think, do you know what, I'm surprised that hasn't made much traction between the fans. I thought that might really travel for a few reasons. Obviously they've both been out for the same amount of time, Diaz and Hardy. They are both nunchuck specialists. Both enjoy the calming medicines that the world has to offer. Don't know how else best to phrase that. But come on, man, let's get real for a second, because seriously, that is a cool fight on so many different ways. Dan Hardy, Nick Diaz. But let's be honest, again, I'm happy to see Nick Diaz fight absolutely anybody at this stage. Anybody. Yes, he is Keith. I do believe Dan. Wait, is that? No, wait, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I think he's been asked to be put back in it. I couldn't tell you 100%, to be honest. Nor do I feel responsible for giving you that information.
Were you talking about?
Sorry. No, carry on.
No, I was saying we giving like dream matchups.
Yeah, somebody asked in the comments, what's your dream matchup? And I was saying my dream matchups are pretty much unrealistic and impossible. They just will not happen.
Yeah.
Like for example, right, obviously this is never ever going to happen, right? But how could, what, let's look at it. John Jones versus Khabib.
Yeah.
Like, look, come on, I know, lads. I know that is not going to happen. I know they're not in the same weight division. I know. But, come on.
Actually, like, with their skill set and, yeah, for sure. I actually seen a picture. Someone posted one of them, like, facing off the other day.
Did they? What,
Yeah.
Jones and Khabib?
Yeah. The size difference was nuts, but it was
Khabib's a thick old boy,
concept.
though. And
Yeah.
I'm sure he could probably get to
Mm.
light heavyweight. I'm sure he could get to 205. And do you know what I mean? I bet he's walked around at 205
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, he's a thick guy, isn't he?
But I just think that would be a sight to behold, man. It really would. Khabib against Jones. Even just somebody get them together and let them spar and let's film it. That would be bad ass.
I think for me, I think mine's quite realistic, to be honest, because Dan mentioned it yesterday in the war room for Figueiredo that he thinks he'll eventually step up to bantamweight.
Who? Oh, Figueiredo.
Yeah, just because of he's got a lot of muscle mass for a flyweight, and he.
I hope we
naturally
don't.
gonna
I
get bigger.
hope that isn't a common trend. To be honest with you, I want to see Figueiredo stay in the flyweight
Yeah.
division. I don't want to keep seeing us get a new flyweight champion and then he goes up to bantamweight to try and get a clout fight with Cody Garbrandt or something like that. Do you know what I mean? I just want to, like, to a certain degree, and there's an argument that, staying in the division as champion too long can stifle a division, and we've seen that with Demetrius Johnson. Some have argued we've seen it with John Jones in the light heavyweight division, but obviously Jones slipping up for all the things he slipped up for opened up opportunities for Daniel Cormier, and that gave opportunities for different people to start climbing up and get it. So maybe not for that division, but I want to see Figueiredo stay in the flyweight division until he loses, and then maybe go up to bantamweight and attempt that.
I'd like to see him face Peter Yan.
Who, Figueiredo? Yeah.
I think that would be.
It would be a good fight. I don't know. I just don't want to keep us seeing us lose really good champions in a division that was this time last year on the horizon to be cut from the UFC. I want somebody to staple their name in the flyweight division and kind of just give it a little bit more of a.
He certainly spiced things up a bit.
Exactly. People want to watch the flyweight division now because of we've got champions like that, and if they move up to bantamweight, it kind of nullifies that division a little bit. I mean, that's just my opinion. A lot of people might disagree with that. Tell me what you think in the comments if you agree or you disagree with Figueiredo discussion right here. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and Ackman, that's a good point. Dan mentioned that in the war room yesterday as well. Maybe Cejudo coming back to face Figueiredo if Figueiredo kind of goes through the division and there's no one really left for him to face, then that could be a possibility.
For
Cejudo
sure.
coming back.
I'm over that guy, to be honest.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I'm not really that interested in seeing Cejudo. He is great though. He's a good fighter. Not knocking anything like that.
I'm talking in terms of legacy.
Yeah.
To create a legacy.
But there's just too much of this, like, oh, I'm retired and then I'm going to come back and then for the right thing. And there's too much like games being played, in my opinion. I just want them to fight, and if you don't want to fight, do a Khabib and retire and mean it. Do you know what I mean?
Get on the camera for the face-offs anyway.
Yeah, awesome. So we got the face-offs about to start now. Predictions for the spiciest face-off. Agree, he should stay at 125. Yeah. Oh, really? Apparently Rachel Astrovich tweeted some scissors this morning insinuating she has been cut from the UFC. What are you laughing at?
All right, thank you all for being here. UFC Fight Night, Hermansson versus Vettori. Sean Shelby's in the building. With that, we will get underway. And we will begin with the prelims. You can see these live on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus. First out of the chute in the heavyweight division, John Vellante versus Jake Collier.
Here we go. First face off. There's some giggling going on.
All right, next prelim in the featherweight division, Ilia Topuria versus Damon Jackson.
Ilia Topuria against Damon Jackson. Featherweight 3-round bout here.
All right, next up, UFC flyweight division, Jimmy Flick versus Cody Durden.
You were definitely right about that, being the jolliest face-off. Ooh, this one's a bit spicy. I'm enjoying this. Jimmy Flick, Cody Durden. Oh, I wish we could get a mic in between some of these face-offs.
All right, next up in the lightweight division, Matt Wyman versus Jordan Levitt.
So now we got Matt Weinman against Jordan Levitt in a lightweight 3-round bout. A bit more of a somber face-off here. Can Jordan Levitt
And our featured
keep
prelim
his
in the UFC bantamweight division, Luis Smolka versus Jose Quinones.
So Luis Smolka against Jose Quinones. When Jose fought O'Malley, I was a big fan of that mustache. He seems to have cut it down a little bit.
All right, now we get to the main card. UFC Fight Night, Hermansson versus Vettori, live on ESPN2 and E+. First out of the chute in the featherweight division. How good is this? Nate Landwehr versus Movsar Evloev.
Nate Landwehr against Movsar Evloev. Nate is fiery. And we've seen this before from Nate Landwehr. Mild spice. I need to get a chili thermometer in the corner of these face-offs, and we can scale them on spice.
Next up on the main card in the light heavyweight division, Roman Dolidze versus John Allen.
I wonder if there'll be a ghost chili face-off. Nah. We've got... Okay, that wasn't spicy. It was jalapeno.
All right, next up in the women's flyweight division, 15th ranked Montana De La Rosa versus Tyla Santos.
Spice-o-meter, yes, exactly. Hey Dan, what's up, dude? Oh, this is going to be a very interesting one. Montana De La Rosa in a flyweight 3-round women's bout against Talia Santos. There's not much spice in these face-offs so far.
And that brings us to a featured bout in the lightweight division, Gabriel Benitez versus Justin James.
Gabriel Benitez in a lightweight 3-round bout against Justin James. I think we might get a ghost pepper for the Vettori face-off.
All right, now to the co-main event at light heavyweight, 15th ranked Owen St. Preux versus Jamal Hill.
Vince St. Preux in a light heavyweight, 3-round bout against Jamal Hill. Vince missed weight by 1.4, I believe. some good respect there shown from Hill as well, considering the
And our main
circumstances.
event,
I'm a
5
fan
rounds
of that.
needed in the UFC middleweight division.
Here
Number
we
4,
go.
Jack Hermansson versus 13th ranked Marvin Vettori.
Jack Hermansson against Marvin Vettori. Spice-o-meter, what's it saying?
What a main event it shall be. Two of the best middleweights in the world. They are Jack Hermansson and Marvin Vettori. One more sleep. We'll see you back at the Apex tomorrow night.
There we go, there we have it. Jack Hermansson has faced off for his middleweight 5-round bout against Marvin Vettori. In terms of a spice-o-meter, that one kind of, that was a bit of a creeper, wasn't it? I couldn't tell if it was spicy, and then a couple of minutes later I felt it. So we've got a creeper there for the main event. It's pretty spicy. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Full Reptile for the live weigh-ins and face-offs. As I say all the time, there's so many different channels where you could be right now. So, for you guys to be here means a lot to us. Keep building this brand, keep building our live shows, and continue to try and get better at doing this as well every time. So appreciate all your feedback on all of these shows and everything that we're doing. We aim to get a lot better and keep trying and researching and just, doing our thing when it comes to these.
For sure.
So what I'm getting at is we really appreciate you guys for tuning in. So thank you very much. But I just wanted to speak to you a little bit about wrapping up the show. So I wanted to speak to you about what you took out of the prelims and what you took out of the main event from the weigh-ins. Anything to look at that you'll be looking out for tomorrow?
Tomorrow, well, I'm very much looking forward to the Matt Wyman-Jordan Levitt fight. I think that would be really good to see how Jordan Levitt performs as well.
Especially as he's protecting that O that he has.
Yeah, exactly.
Undefeated.
It's always interesting to see a fight come in, because like you said earlier, it is the proper test when you have your first official UFC fight,
Yeah.
And if you get through that, then sky's
Well,
the
it's
limit,
not just your first UFC fight, really. It's all of your UFC fights. This is, in my opinion, this is going to be, it is the perfect testing ground to test out your undefeated record, right?
For sure.
We've seen a lot of fighters come in here with an undefeated record, and then 2 or 3 fights into their UFC career, they lose their O. I believe Justin Gaethje was a similar candidate to that as well. So it doesn't necessarily also mean that the future's not bright either. Do you know what I mean? If you do lose and you don't get to protect that undefeated record. But we got Luis Smolka and Jose Quinones, which I'm really intrigued about.
Yeah.
Quinones, I've been to 2 of his fights now, and I don't think he's won yet.
I think he lost his last fight, obviously, to Sean, and then before that, I think he had a win against. I can't remember who he had a win against.
Why am I thinking Jack Shaw was in contention to fight Quinones? He was. No,
Yeah, but
it was Nathaniel Wood. That was the British
Yeah.
link. That was the
Yeah.
British link with Quinones, and he got choked out, didn't he? I remember
Yeah.
that now. Yeah.
And then he had a win against Huachin.
And he was due to actually fight O'Malley twice. The first time it got cancelled, and then he ended up going with Nathaniel Wood. And I think that's why I always kind of, when I was talking to Sean the first time, I mentioned Nathaniel Wood, and is he somebody that we'll be seeing Sean fighting in the near future? Obviously, we've got somewhat of a English fan base,
Yeah.
so I was very interested to know. And he hadn't really heard of Nathaniel back then, but I thought he may have, because obviously if I fall out and you take my position, you'd assume if you're not ranked, we're floating around the same kind of area. But I found that really interesting when we were talking to Sean, that Sean doesn't really watch any of the fights.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Similar to Derek Lewis.
Yeah. And
that took me by surprise.
When he was training with Benson Henderson as well, he said that he never used to watch fights, and Sean found that weird, but now he's in that role, in that same position, he feels the same way. Yeah. So just to close, we'll close with a few of the things that we've got coming out for you, just in case you've missed it. We've got a ton of war rooms coming out. We've dropped 2 of them recently. Hermansson, Vettori, Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno. I was thinking of 2 things at once there, and my brain can't do that. But then we went to Arizona, didn't we, yesterday, 2 days ago. Stayed there for a few nights. We hung out with Sean O'Malley. We went backstage to his Timbo Sugar Show podcast. We've got some content with that coming out. We were armed to the teeth with our 360 cameras, weren't we? And Lumixes and Sonys, and a full day of filming, literally.
A full day of filming and editing as well, because as soon as it was over, we were getting out war rooms and putting out trailers for people to look forward to. So yeah, we've got some cool stuff with Sean coming out, a little bit of a vlog style thing, one video, and then we've got a good little 20-minute interview with Sean. It was going to get turned into a fighter psyche show, but just the dynamic of where Sean's mind was at that point that we did the interview, we thought it was best not to really go into that area, because I don't think any of us at that point of the day had the brain power to be super insightful from a psychological perspective. But we had a really good chat. So that'll be coming out separately to the vlog that we'll be putting out, as well as some MMA lab content with Kyler Phillips, Casey Kenny.
Kyler Phillips.
How was Casey?
Great. He looked great. He seemed like he felt great, and I think he's really eager to, get back in there as soon as possible.
He is. He's one of those characters, ain't it, that wants to fight at every opportunity. I thought it was crazy, like the sparring that was happening at the MMA lab. I almost felt like when watching it back that, like, I didn't know if they were doing it for camera and reflection, but man, Kyler is going hard in sparring. He's
there was a lot of guys going for it in there. Like you said, I don't know whether it's because I was there filming, but trying to impress. But no, they were going hard, and they've got some high level guys in there.
Yeah, they really do.
And
Sam,
cool,
lovely
man.
to see you, mate. Yeah, they do, from all different kinds of sizes as well, which is really interesting.
And they've got some like all-American wrestlers there and stuff. Like, the level of talent in that gym.
The level of talent in Arizona in general has taken me by surprise. It's really high level.
And the MMA lab as well, just as a setup, it's one of the best gyms I've been in. It's all cordoned off. They've got strength and conditioning. They've got loads of...
Got a fitness area where you don't have to kind of... If you're not completely into mixed martial arts and you don't want to necessarily train fighting, they've got programs for you, right? Fitness programs. There's a lot going on at the MMA lab. They focus a lot on family as well, don't they?
I was going to say a lot of fighters were coming in with their kids and dropping them off at the little like play group thing they've got there. It's a real nice family orientated atmosphere.
It is.
I enjoyed being
Benson
there.
takes his kids there a lot, and his wife, and you just see a lot of kids growing up on the mats, don't you, down there. It's awesome, man, and it makes me look forward to the day I get to be able to do that, if I get to be able to do that. Doesn't look likely. I'm not. But no, in all seriousness, thank you very much for tuning in once again, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
And keep an eye out on Full Reptile. As we've just said, we've got a ton of stuff coming your way. and we really hope you enjoy it. We're nearly at 100k as well. That's another thing, I should have mentioned that a little bit more in the show, but we're nearly at 100k subs, man. That's a huge milestone for us. That's huge. I believe we get a little plaque for that as well, so it'd be nice to get that, not the plaque, but it'd be nice to reach 100,000 before Christmas. It seems to be like slowing down, man.
Yeah, it's
doesn't
like,
it?
it's like
Like
someone's
every day.
left the tap on a little bit, and then every now and again someone turns it off, and then just turns it off
Yeah,
a little bit.
that's what it feels like. That's definitely what it feels like. So if you're not subscribing, please head over to our channel and give us a little subscribe. It'd mean the world. If you want to stay one step ahead as well of all of this full reptile, all of the full reptile content, then head over to Raptors MMA on Instagram, where you can stay a couple of days ahead of everything that we're doing, and that gets released on the full reptile YouTube. Like I say, the Sean O'Malley thing, there's some clips of the Sean O'Malley stuff that we've been doing over the past couple of days on our Instagram, nowhere else. So head over to Raptors MMA, and also if you do have time to be doing this, then please follow Full Reptile as well. And head over to our website, because we've got a lot of merch that is flying off the shelves at the moment, right? Thank you so much, everyone, to everybody that's buying and supporting the brand. Like, it means the world to us, from the top to the bottom, all over the company. Everybody is just over the moon with the support that we've had leading up to Christmas for Full Reptile. So thank you so much, everyone. Really, really appreciate it. Shout out to the boys back in England, Dan, Owen, Veronica, I know you're not a boy, Ollie,
Dean
Wad, we miss you. Thank you for everything, boys, and we'll leave it there. We'll be signing out now. Thank you for tuning in once again.
Yeah, thanks,
we
guys.
appreciate it.
Take
See
care.
you later.